All right, I'm going to make a short video on how to make the CowCatcher for the mini train. So here's our layout, our design. Really what we have is we have these two kind of triangular shaped forms. There's one on the top here, smaller one, and a larger one on the bottom. So I'm first going to create the larger one on the bottom, and then I will create the one on top, and we'll go from there. So I'm actually going to draw on the top view. So come over here to top view, new sketch. Let's take a look. All right, so my front view is here. So if I rotate, oops, wrong way, rotate, and that's the back. So there's the front view. So I want the point of this train to be pointing towards the front, obviously. So I'm going to take a line. Oh, here, let's take a look at dimensions again. So let's see. The width of it is 1.8, and it comes up, and then, so I'm just going to draw. All right, so 1.8, that'll work. All right, so I'm just going to draw this, and that's going to be 1.8, and then it comes up a little, it comes over, and then it comes down. There we go. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to do a few things here. I'm going to set that these two have to be equal to each other. Okay. I am going to center this, so from here to here is point, actually no, I'm not. Let me take that back. Let's do our depth. What's our depth? I think it's the whole thing is 1 inch. All right, so let's set that depth first. From here to here, come on, from here to here needs to be 1 inch. This is 0.25, and then I'll set these two to be equal. So they're right in the center, and I'm going to see if it will let me. Nope. So where is my midpoint? Is that my midpoint? There we go. All right, so I just set the midpoint equal to that, and I'm done. And so what I did here, let me show constraints, is I've got these two sides equal to each other. I've got this side and this side equal to each other. So when I dimension this one to 0.25, it dimensioned that one. When I set this depth, that made this go in the center because it has to be equilateral. So these both have to equal. So therefore, it's right in the center, and you can actually see that. That's one of the reasons I anchored this to the center point. So that looks good. I'm going to finish it. And let's go back to ISO view. And so now we got to work on this top part. So we got to have a plane that's 0.75 up. Okay. So I'm going to come over here to my planes. I need an offset plane from here. It's going up, and I need it 0.75. All right, so I am now going to go ahead and I'm going to green check that guy. I am now going to go ahead and turn off some of these guys so they're out of my way. I really don't need the origin anymore. All right, looks good. All right, so I am going to create a new sketch on this plane. Hold on a second. So on this plane, we're going to do a new sketch. And if we rotate, we can see we're up above it. So come to the top. All right, and I am going to, it's called use. It's also project. I always call it project because that's what the old school was. And then I am going to draw this little guy over here. And this was 1.2. And then once again, I'm just going to draw a wigged out shape here. Now you can see that these are not, that's not, there we go. Put that to vertical. I probably should have checked that on that, but I don't think I had that wrong. All right, I believe, so that's 1.2. It's once again, what's the depth? 0.75. All right, and then these little guys are 0.25. All right, so let's come back into here. This is 0.75, and oh, this is equal to this, and this is equal to this, and This is 0.25. All right. And then the midpoint of this should be on the midpoint of, didn't I use that? Come on. There you go. All right. There you go. So now I lock the two midpoints together. That puts them perfectly right above one another on that back line, because the back has to be the same. There we go. Let's go ISO view. So now I just do a loft this to this. Green check. Okay. Now, you know you've done your loft right, so here I'm going to hide this plane. You know you've done your loft right if, see how when I get on this, I can actually select that, it makes a surface. So I'm going to right click and do a new sketch on that surface. Okay, so this is a kind of a funky angle. And I see that this has a 0.1 inset. So I'm going to do a offset. Well, here first I got to do a use. So I'm going to use, so that gives me that edge. I'm going to do an offset of this edge, and I'm going to come in, and I want it to come in 0.1. There we go. And I'm going to try something. Let's just see if it works. I'm going to do a new sketch. On this side, I'm going to use this. I'm going to offset this. I'm going to offset it in 0.1. Can check. Now I gotta look. I gotta cut this in. Oh, before I cut, I almost made a mistake. All right, so if you look here, they did a shell of 0.1 on the inside. If I cut these and then shell, I'll get this messed up. So glad I remembered that before I kept on going. So actually, I need to shell this sucker. So let's see, where's my shell? There it is. I want a 0.1. I'm gonna click here, green check. So now that's all smooth on the inside. Now, if we look, this little indent is 0.05. All right, so I'm gonna extrude this and this. Looks pretty weird, doesn't it? I wonder if this is gonna work. Is that two different angles? We want to remove, and we want to move 0.05. Never tried it this way. Nope, it's not going to work. So, escape. So we're going to have to do these individually. So this one, going to have to remove, I'm going to remove 0.05. All right. And then I'll have to come over here and remove this one separately, 0.05, because it was doing it at two weird angles. So, and I need to remove. There we go. So now I got these little indents. See that? But it doesn't go all the way through. See? Okay, now, if I shelled now, what would happen is I'd have these little things that poke out here on the bottom. Okay? Right here on this side and this side. Because it would, since this is already in, it would, and there's only 0.05 of a depth. Because this whole depth is 0.1. And I cut down this little depth here, 0.05. So there's only 0.05 between this side and this side. So if I shelled at a 0.10, it would poke out here. Okay, so that's why you got to shell before you do anything else. So now let's look at the back. I got to make some pegs. So I got 3 pegs. Each of these pegs is a circle, and it has a diameter. Let's see, where does it say? There's the depth. Ah, there's my diameter, 0.125. So, all right, so I got 3 pegs. Here's the replacements. All right, so on this back piece here, we're going to draw a new sketch. Let's go to the back. And I'm going to draw a circle here, and it's 0.125. And then I'm going to draw a circle here, and I'm going to draw a circle here. Okay, now all 3 circles are going to be equal. So there, now they're all sized right. These two circles are on the same horizontal line. Okay, and so now I just got to place them. All right, so let's look at my measurements. So it says that these are 0.125 off from each other and at 0.625 off. Okay, so distance from here to here is 1.25, and the distance from here to here is 0.625. Okay, wonderful. Oh, don't look it, but we're okay, because then I see that I'm on 0.275 off from the edge. So come back into here. So from this corner to here is 0.275. Ah, look at there. Now they're back in the center where I want them. Now I got to do my heights. So going up 0.125, and that one's 0.625. All right. So from here to here is 0.125, and from and then from the bottom 0.625. All right. So from here to here is 0.625. Okay, so there's my 3 pegs. Let's see, how far do I extrude them out? 0.125, and then they have a little chamfer on them, a 0.01 at 45-degree angle. All right, so I'm going to extrude them all 0.125. So let's come over here, extrude this, this, and this, and we're merging it with all, and we're doing it 0.125. And there we go. Oops, forgot to hit enter. There we go. All right, so there we go, little pigs. All right, and I'll click OK. Then chamfer. That chamfer is really small, 0.01. All right, so 0.01, and I need it distance and angle, and I need that, that, and that, and green check. And so all that does is make it a little easier if you're actually sliding it in, so it'll fit a little bit easier. Let's take a look. Let's see if I go my isometric. I do believe I am done. Let's move this over here with this. I believe so. So there's the train. Or sorry, not the train. The stack. CowCatcher. I'll get it right eventually. So hey, it's Monday when I'm making this, so give me a little break. All right. Well, hopefully that will help. And man, these constraints, when you're using these constraints, you notice, I mean, in all these sketches that I did, I used constraints a lot. It just makes it so easy than trying to line these things up and all sorts of funkiness that you might have to do, or trying to do the math. You know, okay, so if this is 1.8 and this is 1.2, so that leaves 0.6, and then divide that by 2, so that's 0.3. So I need to come over 0.3 from that point over to draw this one. That has to be 0.75. I mean, you know, golly, who wants to do all that math when you got buttons that will do it all for you called constraints? So use those constraints, man. They make life easy. Hope you find this helpful, and good luck.